So CNN lost another one of their crazy pundits. So this time it was Reza Aslan. He got fired because of people are saying the statements he made about Donald Trump. Calling him a piece of shit after the London Bridge attacks. But in my opinion, it probably has a lot more to do with him eating human brains like a couple months ago, and him asking for people to be raped like Todd Atkins. He keeps putting his foot in his mouth and keeps saying stupid shit like this, and this is probably the reason he's not having his show renewed. Like maybe the last statements, the piece of shit statements, the clearly partisan statements he's making might have had an impact, but that show that he's watching isn't supposed to be like a news show. It's like infotainment, right? So, those people are generally allowed to have their own political opinions, right? Because it's not, they're not just giving you the news. They're giving you some information about other cultures or whatever, like Anthony Bourdain, these types of shows. But if you just look at his old tweets, like he makes outrageous tweets in the mainstream media right now. Liberal media is trying to portray this like, oh, he's criticizing Trump. This is why he's getting fired. It's like, no, bullshit. Like they're saying the same thing about Kathy Griffin, and it's like, no, it's like she got fired because she pissed off people on both political spectrums, and then CNN lost a lot of sponsors, and they lost millions upon millions of dollars. That's why she got fired. If they didn't lose that sponsor, they would have kept that up. You notice how it took them quite a while to say anything about it, right? They were waiting for the response that people have. They were waiting, and then once they realized it was bad, then they came out against it. Then they fired her. Like they didn't immediately fire her, right? They were waiting. So there's a lot of miscalculations going on about CNN. They're miscalculating the culture at the time, and how people are going to react. And this just shows you how disconnected they really are with the average day people, with the average person. Like they're too disconnected that they're going to keep making these types of mistakes over and over again. And thank God, I'm glad. Like the more these people lose, the more alternative media will get stronger, the more actual facts will get out, the more people actually start to learn and not be constantly like, you know, manipulated by the media, and they'll actually get more of a clear perspective of reality. Because right now, the stuff coming out from these news stations is just more or less harming people. Like they're saying, oh, reporters are being choke slammed. This is because of Donald Trump's rhetoric, blah blah blah, and people are getting hurt. It's like, no, people are getting hurt because of your rhetoric, because of the shit like you guys have pushed. Wars in Iraq, the wars in Iraq, you've lied about things, to continue conflicts overseas. So, it's fucking ridiculous. So it's you people who are actually hurting others, right? Not the other way around. When a reporter gets like a random fucking push or a shove, everybody freaks the fuck out. Who cares? Relax. But yeah, Reza Aslan got fired, which is great. I kind of hate that piece of shit. He's a horrible person. I've always hated him. He's always said regressive nonsense. He's been around since, like, in most of the skeptic community or whatever, peer view, since he's, criticized Sam Harris and called him like a racist bigot, and, he doesn't know anything about religion, blah, blah, blah. And this guy's been in most people's radar since then, and he's just constantly said ridiculous, stupid shit. And finally, he's suffering a bit of consequences for it, which is good. But at the same time, I'm not for people getting fired over saying stupid shit. Like, I think freedom of speech should be absolute. And people should be able to say whatever they want and not have to worry about losing their job because it may be politically incorrect and this and that. But at the same time, we still do live in that culture, so you got to be aware of it, right? When you do make these types of statements, that you are going to get backlash. And especially if you're hurting a company's bottom line, then you got to kind of expect that you're going to get fired, right? Like Reza Aslan made a statement. He's like, oh, no, I know CNN's trying to appear, bipartisan, blah blah blah, and I understand completely why they're firing me, but it's like, you're just hurting their bottom line. Like, they don't care. They're a partisan network already. I don't think they really care too much about being viewed by partisan anymore, because it's out there. All they really care about is manipulating your opinion as much as they possibly can. So they're going to, try to do it more subtly now if they can, or because clearly the whole Kathy Griffin method and the Reza Aslan method just isn't working with the average leftist, or the moderates who are just kind of like, whoa, like, these people are fucking crazy. Like, I'm just gonna disassociate myself with them if they're gonna keep talking like this nonsense, right? So yeah, they're gonna change up their strategy to try to, get your attention back, but I don't think it's gonna work anymore. These news stations are going downhill every year, and they're going to continue going downhill. Like, there's very little they can do to stop this, because the alternative media is growing every day, and they're getting more and more resources and more power and more influence, and the opposite is true for the mainstream media. They're just losing it. So it's going to be a continuous process until they're completely gone in the next 10, 15, 20 years is my guess. But if you like my content, subscribe and have a great day. See ya. Have a great day.